In this video, we're giving you a clear map, literally and figuratively one of North Carolina's most charming small towns, Morganton. Whether you're relocating, investing, or just curious, this is your roadmap to making a confident decision. Joining us is Sean Cutchens with Next Gen Lending, your go-to guide in navigating the local housing landscape. He's not here to sell, but to serve, helping you cut through the noise and see why Morganton could be the perfect next step in your journey. We're gonna walk you through key neighborhoods, local hotspots, hidden gems only locals know, and you don't have to guess your way through this, because we're gonna guide you through clarity and confidence. Are you ready to discover what makes Morganton more than just a dot on the map? Let's go.
Hey everybody, it's Sean from Next Gen Lending. Got my guy Adriano behind the camera, the Martin Scorsese of real estate. And we today are gonna talk to you a little bit about Morganton. Obviously, you see the map in front of you, but we're gonna put our expertise in line and really give you a tour of the area. I did think it was very important to show you, as you can see here, you've got Morganton here. But I wanted you to see as a whole what we're looking at for where is Morgan in proximity, some things that may be important to you. You get a lot of people that want to know where's Morganton in relation to Charlotte. And I always tell them, go north and go west about an hour. But as you can see here, we've got Charlotte, right? Another place that people have a lot of interest in is Asheville. Where's Asheville in comparison? So the one thing I love about Morganton, right? We always talk about Hickory, which is where we're standing today. Obviously I live in Morganton, but we're based out of Hickory. And so if you look, and this is what I love about the Morganton Hickory area, is if you look, we literally are in proximity to some of the main things that make this area interesting. If you move from Hickory and you get to right about here on the map, that's where the foothills start. This actually is an uphill climb into Asheville. One thing that I think is important to know is where are we in proximity to getting around to these places? So if you look, Interstate 40 runs basically from Asheville all the way through. This will take you out to Greensboro, it'll take you out to Raleigh, eventually get you to the beach in about 4.5, 5 hours. 77 runs from Charlotte down through Rock Hill and into South Carolina. So we're not very far from the crossroads where 77 meets 40. 77 is gonna take you north up into Virginia. So the one thing that I love about Morganton and Hickory is that we really are in the center of a lot of great things. So I'm gonna zoom us in now and get us just a little bit bigger here and give you some thought processes on Morganton itself. And so as you're coming up out of 40 and you hit Morganton, what I love about Morganton is this is Morganton proper. If you've seen our videos when we were downtown, that's the downtown center. And we'll zoom in a little bit more. But what I love is that Morganton has a lot of access points. You can be to the highway very quickly, but also be out in the outskirts and feel like you're out in the middle of nowhere if that's what you want. But you've got a lot of places that you can be a little more suburban feel as well. But I always want to know is how long does it take me to get to the highway? So if you look coming up 40, so this right here is going to be exit 106 that'll run into Morganton. This is exit 105 that runs into Morganton. This is exit 103 that runs into Morganton. Exit 104. If you really look at the way Morganton rolls out, they always give you quick access to the highway. They did a really nice job of looking through how, if you're in town or you're in one of these places, how do we give you some quick access, quick escape routes, whatever it is that you want to call it. So if you remember, we showed you on one of our previous, went a little too far, the downtown area. So as you're coming in, as you're coming into Morganton from any one of these accesses, this is your whole downtown area. We had taken you guys to Catawba Meadows Park, which was right here. It says temporarily closed because when the hurricane came through, we got a lot of water in that area. Simply because you have the river. Y'all probably remember that we were walking by the river. Adriano was flying the drone out on the river, some pretty cool footage. But that shows you that, I'll go back out for just a second. Let me clear this. what I think is cool, for any of you water lovers, any of you guys that like to fish, any of you that want to ski, any of you that want to do anything that involves the water, from Charlotte, if you look right here, this is the Catawba River lake chain. And it follows it all the way up. This is the biggest one, which is Lake Norman. Then you have, up in this general area, you have Lake Roadhiss, and then you have Lake James, and then the river that follows through. So we have an extensive river system that Duke Power built years and years ago called the Catawba River Lake Chain. And it's obviously controlled by dams. It's you know, one of those man-made situations, but if you like water, it's a lot of fun. And as you can see from Morganton, we're surrounded by it, which is part of the reason why when Hurricane Helene came, which was a fluke once in 100 years, but when it came, we got a lot of water. Here you can see Lake Roadhiss and then the river. And this is the river that flowed from some of the stuff that you saw from previous videos. But what's really, I think, awesome about Morganton, as you look, this particular area outlined in red is what they call Morganton proper. But very quickly, if you look at this map, you see it's not very densely populated. When we talk about being able to get out, be, you know, out in that country feel, but it doesn't take you long before you're back into one of these exits and back out on the main highway. So let's go ahead and zoom in just a little bit, and we're going to talk about the center of town. So as you come into the center of town, this is where our movie theater was. This is where all our little local breweries are. This then takes you back out to the highway through the middle of town. So when you look at Morganton as a whole, you can see that we really are more this area. This is going to be your more densely populated area here. Some of the neighborhoods that I do like that allow us to get out is this is exit 106, and 106 takes you to 70, but this is 106, Bethel Road. There's a lot of great neighborhoods in through here. Up Bethel Road is a lot of houses, but still, if you look, these areas here, even where I used to live, which is, if you go down Bethel Road, there's Bethel Park. Let me find it here. Bethel Park. This is a beautiful park with the water running through it. This is the neighborhood I used to live in when we first moved here, which is Woodland Acres. And we were back here. So as you can see, this is all woods. And so I had this great sense of, I live out in the middle of nowhere, living in a neighborhood, deer running around in the backyard. That's what I love. I love having that balance of being able to get where I need to get, being able to run up into town when I need to from these different neighborhoods. One of the other things that I'll tell you is over in this direction, so this is Freedom Park, and this is one of your major high schools, which is Freedom High School's in here. Then you got, if I come down, let me find it, Enola Road, which is gonna be, so here's the North Carolina School for the Deaf, here's Western Piedmont, and so Enola Road is gonna run us out this way. So when we get off, if you remember, we did a map, or we did a video that showed you the apple orchard. That's where we were in the apple orchard. I happen to live out here, which is what I love, out in the middle of nowhere. But here's Patton High School, Liberty Middle School. So there's 4 schools in the area in Burke County. So you've got Patton and Liberty, which is out here. If you go back this way, you're going to find, you gotta get there, your high school that is East Burke. Here we go, East Burke High. So when you zoom in, you can see that's gonna be right here. You'll have East Burke, you have Freedom High, and then you have, in this general area is gonna be Liberty Middle School in Patton where my kids went. And then there's one more somewhere in here, I think. Anyway, there's 4 different high schools in this area that we all get to go to, depending on where you live. So when you look at this Morganton, obviously we've got plenty of places that we can stay. If you've got friends from in and out of town, I can tell you we got a pretty good Airbnb game in this area because we're so close to the mountains, because we're so close to all those different things. If you've got people coming in to stay, or you're coming, maybe you want to come and look at houses, You don't want to stay in a hotel. Definitely check the Airbnbs in this area because you can get some really in a lot of these outskirts areas that'll give you a feel for what it's like to be just out of town and how quickly you have the opportunity to get that down home country feel. Okay, so if you remember in one of our videos, we talked about the Walmart Supercenter and that whole shopping area. It's relatively new. It's where we got the Dick's Sporting Goods, the TJ Maxx, the Ross, Staples, Belts. I'm throwing things. You got a whole caveat of different shops there. Really, there's not a whole lot more that you would need that you're not gonna find there. But you also got Buffalo Wild Wings, you got Applebee's, you got a Mexican restaurant, you got a Chinese buffet, anything you could want to eat, you're probably going to find over there. But that's right here at the Walmart Supercenter. And so as you look, you can very quickly, again, be right back out to the highway. So the one thing that I think you will find and that I do love about the Morganton area is that everything is easily accessible. I talk a lot about being able to get out and get away from it. It's because you can. You can get out, you can get away from it. You can feel like you're out in the middle of nowhere, but you can be right where you need to be within 5 to 10 minutes. Then one of the cool things, and it's definitely a Burke County experience, is the Jamestown Flea Market. If you've ever been to a flea market, this is a flea market on steroids. It literally is probably 10 acres of nothing but vendors and shops, and they've got inside, they've got outside. Maybe you want to get your hands dirty doing flea market stuff. You can go and rent a table. They're gonna put you in the back, but you can rent a table. And so this, if you're coming down 40, this easily, if you look, this is the Jamestown Road exit, and you just come up and there you are at the Jamestown Flea Market. So that's a pretty cool shopping experience. Now, if you also coming out, Chick-fil-A, easy enough to get to, again, coming through. We've also, in this spot here, come back down, I can show you, if you get off, it took me a second to find it, but we got Longhorn, one of my favorite Mexican restaurants, the Salsas. You've got Arby's, Wendy's, McDonald's. Uh-oh, everybody, let's see if it'll show us. Is it gonna show up on the map? I'm shocked it didn't, but right here is Starbucks. For all you coffee freaks, Starbucks. For those of you who cannot stomach paying the Starbucks prices, you can come up here and get off on this exit and Rural King. Y'all remember Rural King? I can't say it again, still Rural King. Tractor Supply and Walmart had a baby. There it is. But right here is Dunkin' Donuts. That's where I get my coffee. Just because I'm not paying that. I'm not paying Starbucks prices. Forget it. So, banks, State Employees Credit Union, big bank here across this whole North Carolina area. But just the same as if you go up in town, you're gonna ride right up into town. We've got Bank of America. We've got Wells Fargo as you're coming into town. We've got First Citizens. We've got the Morganton Federal Savings. We've got the Truist. So all the banking you want is right there in the center of town. They obviously have branches in the outskirts, but really what you're looking for would be right there in the middle. Let's talk just for a minute about the mountains. Everybody wants to talk about the mountains. Obviously, if you go this way, you're going up into the Asheville area. But there's another way that you can get up into the mountains, and that is 321, right? Here's Hickory. Here's Hickory. Rides up through Lenoir. You can get to 321. From Morganton, you can also take this one. It will take you up through Linville and 221. But some very cool areas that you can go to is Blowing Rock and Boone. If you look those up, they're very popular. Anybody know Appalachian State University? They were really famous for beating Michigan State several years back. They picked up a pretty good football program up there, but it's beautiful up there. If you like to ski during the winter, that's the place you're gonna wanna go. You can also go to Beach Mountain, which is a big resort up above Banner Elk. There's an awesome ski resort up there. There's several others in the area. I'm getting too old to ski anymore. Every time I ski, I end up hurt and in traction for a week. But this whole area up here is full of areas where you can go hiking, where you can go see waterfalls. There's Linville Falls is up there, which is a really cool thing if you want to do a little semi-easy hike in, take your family. Banner Elk is another place where, you know, they've just got a lot of old-time mountain town feel to it, but they've done a really good job of almost turning it into a tourist area. So if you see this Minneapolis, no, we didn't take a wrong turn. We are not in Minnesota. Just thought I'd point that out. Obviously this whole area up here is nothing but mountains. Here's another, Sugar Mountain is another good ski resort. So you can ski here, stay in Banner Elk, and then do Beach Mountain the next day. Snowboarding, skiing, whatever it is that you might want to do. That's the great part about it. Let's zoom out for just a minute. Let's say I am not the guy that likes the cold. Don't want to be in the cold. I want to be surfing at the beach. So as you can see, we are here. You can take 40, you can run all the way up 85 and get to Virginia Beach. My wife and I just went to a marriage conference and we went here, Kitty Hawk, Nags Head, Outer Banks. It's all about 5 or 6 hours, right? Not a big deal. All your North Carolina beaches, any of you Nicholas Sparks fans out there, you can see here we've got all of these different opportunities to get to a beach. The ironic thing was we were heading this way, coming down, and my wife asked me, you think there's any alligators in these little backwater areas? And I said, no, I wouldn't think so. It's too cold. And now 5 minutes later, we pulled up on Alligator River and Alligator River National Refuge. And so I just had to hang my head down and admit that I don't know what I'm talking about. So let's go back out. Let's get us back over to Morganton without moving the screen. Abley's. That's if you like country food, all you can eat bar, veggies, all the stuff that you hope grandma would make but never did. You can go to Abley's and take care of that. The other great thing about it is this. Let's talk a little bit about healthcare. Let's talk a little bit about UNC Health Blue Ridge. So there's our hospital, as you can see, right off of 40. This whole road right here, East Parker Road, is nothing but orthopedics, eye, general practitioners, everything you could want, you find right here. And then right in the middle, when the doctor says, your numbers are up, you're getting too heavy, you need to do something. Well, right here is the local, it's not really the YMCA, but it's the Blue Ridge Health place where you can go in and do fitness and do all that. We have several other gyms in the area that are all within proximity, but there's a really cool family one that's right between your doctor and the hospital. So they're letting you know, you better get right in here. That's my little arrow of love to make yourself healthy and strong so that you don't end up here. All right. One of the things that I talked about in some of our videos is that I really was kind of taken back at the number of churches that are in the area. So you say, all right, well, where are some churches, right? In the Morganton area. So as I said, here's 40. And so I want to show you where all the churches are. Everywhere where you see highlights, you have the opportunity to find a church that you might like. We're covered up with them. All right, so I made a little joke about everywhere in Morganton is a church, but it really is true. But as you can see, here's Hickory, here's Morganton. I have such easy access that I actually go to Open Door Church right here in Longview. Takes me 20 minutes to get there. And I told you guys, I live out in this general direction. And so I can't emphasize enough the way Morganton's set up, how easy it is to access. When I come down to Hickory, it literally takes me 25, 30 minutes. So another park, if you look coming back into town, into the center of town, here's another great little park to take your family to. I showed you where Catawba Meadows, there's the zip lines that we talked to you guys about and showed you pictures of in a previous video. But here's Martha's Park, and Martha's Park's a cool little park that you take your kids to, especially during the summer. They've got a fountain that sprays the water up, but it's fenced in. You've got places you can sit out of the sun, let the kids run, play on their equipment. So that's right here in the center of town. So that gives you a little bit of an idea of the proximity to where some of those parks are that we showed you before. So hey, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. There's obviously so much more to Morganton than what we can show you in just a short period of time on the map. It's also funny how you can ride around a place and know it like the back of your hand, but then when you try to pull it in on a map, you start to get lost. It starts to get a little confusing, but hopefully we've given you enough of an understanding of where it is in proximity to things, how close things are that you might need, but how quickly you can get into the outskirts. Hopefully you'll, be able to understand the school systems, healthcare, all the things that are important to you, where all the churches are, what we're looking at as far as the makeup of the town of Morganton. We appreciate, as always, you guys watching. If you have any questions, anything you'd like to know about, put it in the comments. We will get back to you. We've got no problem with keeping this thing rolling because we do love where we live in this area, Hickory, Morganton, and want to make sure that you know exactly what you're getting into if you're going to come here. So thank you again, and we look forward to seeing you guys on our next video.